This is Trifecta Unfiltered. 3 women, too much coffee, and 0 filter. Okay, ladies, can you think of a time when fear almost stopped you from doing something that was important to you? We'll start with you, Kelly.
Yeah, I think so. So it's something recent, I think, was just after surgery this year, or should I say last year, I was faced with like crippling fear that I was never going to compete again because I gained so much weight. And at that point I was just like, this is done. This is never going to go back. I'm never going to compete again. I'm never going to have my body back. Like, it was kind of like
every defeating thought.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
What about you?
Man, literally the first thing that pops into my head because you mentioned competing was last year at Masters. And we all know what happened last year at Masters.
What happened?
We all don't know.
I passed out backstage and it was scary. But when they asked me if I wanted to go to the hospital, I was like, heck no, I spent too much money for this, you know? And it was going in front of Tyler, which I was literally terrified because it was the first time I would ever be in front of him. So I was in my head.
He's a judge, yeah.
But it was like the second my head hit the ground and I stood back up, I'm like, I've got this, you know? And I still went out there and I fucking did my thing. I didn't place as well as I wanted to, but I was still really proud of the fact that I just followed through.
It was scary. I mean, we were both there, but like, even for us, we're like, what do we do? Like, our best friend's on the floor, what do we do? Like,
yeah.
It was horrible.
But I was just like, man, you know, like, that's not stopping you. I'm not going to let the fear of getting in front of this judge stop me either, you know? So.
Yeah.
Well, you also just recently did something that was a little bit scary for you, and that is talking about your story, putting your story out there about healing your gut and focusing on your health issues and improving your health. And that, I know firsthand. I mean, I'm so proud of you for doing that, but you did it. Like, you did not hold back. And I know you have helped people just from simply sharing your story, which is what we want to do here, right? We want to help. I have a personal love for helping women. Of course, men are welcome to listen as well, but because I'm a woman, I understand how we are, you know, so I feel like we need a lot of help.
Yeah, it was scary.
Yeah.
I think I asked like both of you like 500 times, like, should I do it? Should I tell people? Maybe I shouldn't tell anyone. Like, so no one wants to know. No one wants to know where I've been. And then it's like some people have messaged me and it's like, should I even clear the air? Like, I used to post like 500 times a day.
So what were some questions or doubts or feelings or even just clouds of negative thought going through your head that were preventing you from doing something you felt was important?
I think the scary part is just like, how much do you share about yourself, right?
It's the vulnerability of all of it.
Yeah. So it's like, at one point you're like, okay, you kind of want to tell people like, oh, this is what social media is for, you know, to show the good and the bad. And at the same part, it's like, well, I don't want to sound like I'm crying because I'm not trying to like, poor me. It was, let me catch you up because I want to share and
I'm still here, I'm alive.
Yeah, I want to share and show everyone kind of the process I'm in at this point in time. And without that backstory, it was kind of like, why is she showing she's like taking medication or
no, they need to know the details to
only
understand.
Eating 1,200 calories.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, let's catch you up. And then from there we can go.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think that like one of the fears you had was like what other people would think about your like you or like your experience, or like where's your mind space around that?
I think it was not what other people thought, more of I didn't want the pity party. Like the pity party was where I was at. Like I'm not trying to get sympathy from anyone. I just kind of want to share because not one person, there's multiple people who've reached out who've been in similar situations, and it's just mind-boggling because I didn't actually expect anyone to reach out. It was kind of like, I'll throw it out there and whoever sees it and I'll let it be. But
I mean, but that the one person in particular, like you would have never had known that, like she was so touched by it had you not done that and opened that door, you know?
yeah, it was kind of emotional for me
Yeah.
to hear someone else's had other experiences with it. So
Yeah, and I think like aside from like the big stuff, health, competing, which I think unless you've done it, you don't know what really goes into it. So like aside from those two topics, how about on like a day-to-day basis of sending an email or sending the text and like what comes up for you? And I believe it's like conditioning. I think we are conditioned as humans based on how we were raised, things we saw when we were little, internalization and always thinking that it's our fault. I mean, that happens when you're a little person. So I feel like all of those thoughts, cloud thoughts, I call them, because oftentimes they're not serving you. They're just there to linger and you have a choice to go down the rabbit hole and continue or just like question your thoughts. And I think that's one thing that's important to do when you're having challenging thoughts, negative thoughts about doing something that in your heart, in your gut, is good for you or good for the world, is like challenge your thoughts. Your thoughts are not facts. And I think that's like a huge mind-blowing, realization I had when I started to question my thoughts. And that was something one of my therapists taught me decades ago. It was like, why do you think everything that goes through your head is real and true? And I'm like, wait, it's not? No, you have to like separate your brain and almost give it its own identity because its job is to keep you alive, really.
it's like the manifestation of things, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if any of you have read The Secret. Like,
Of course we have.
Yeah.
it's start talking to yourself as if something's already happening for you
Yes.
instead of that fear is, oh, this is not going to work out, or I can't do that, or why would they pick me? Even not a pick me
So
girl,
true.
but same thing. It's like you got to start believing that that's already happened to
Yeah,
make that jump.
I think if you get so set on failure and like the idea of failure, that you're really doing yourself a disservice because you're already putting you in that state of failure. If you're already setting yourself up, like, I'm not going to make it, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to get this job, I'm not,
Yeah.
I can keep rambling about it, but like if you already set yourself up in that mindset, then
Yeah.
you're screwed,
And I think having the growth mentality and mindset is crucial in facing a lot of your challenges and things that you maybe want to go through without all these limiting beliefs in your head. You have to just like, I'm a big believer in fake it till you make it. And I'm not fake. I'm not saying be a fake person. I'm saying,
That's
believe in yourself, visualize it happening for you, and like shift your mind from, fear to faith. And I'm not talking about religious-based faith. I'm talking about faith in
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're actually here to have a wonderful life experience. And I can tell you, so many times I hear people just reiterate their story and their story and their story. And, oh, I always do this and I always get this and I never get this. And I'm sitting and I'm thinking to myself, the reason why is because you're in that space. You are never going to get that because that's the way you
holding yourself
think.
back from opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how powerful your thoughts can be in everything you do. And I think it's like it'll come back to you.
Well, what's your one thing that you've done scared?
God, can we just say this? No.
Yeah, this is
No.
scary because we're putting ourselves out there into
it's
the world.
exhilarating and
It is
it's
exhilarating,
fun.
but in my heart, I know it's the right thing, and I'm totally fueled by like passion for it. But like, my big thing was flying. I used to be terrified of flying.
What?
Because you know why? Because in my little, town where I grew up, I didn't ever fly until I was 17 years old. I never on a
Really?
plane? Because I grew up in a middle class family where our, annual vacation was literally driving to Tahoe.
You could drive.
Lake
Yeah,
Tahoe. You
yeah.
could drive up there. We were in my dad's truck. It was, Huey Lewis and the news was playing, and my mom was, we were just having a good time. But that was all I knew as far as the vacation went. It never involved a different form of travel. And so when I flew for my first time, I was like totally a control freak.
Where'd you go?
Vegas. With my like
17?
second boyfriend. Yes.
17?
Yes.
Oh my
With this whole
goodness.
family though, it was like, come on, we're going to Vegas. And I just remember I'm like, I had no idea what to expect. And I was on the plane terrified the whole time. I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it. Like, we're going to die, know?
So what got you out of that, do you think?
I think I was so tired
She
of...
landed.
She landed.
Yeah, she landed. Oh, especially flying into Vegas is the worst. So it was like the worst. It's all bumpy and you think you're freaking going to... Ugh. And I just remember like, and that continued actually for like probably 5 to 6 years. I was terrified of flying. And then I just realized, you know what? I refuse to let something so silly stop me from so much amazingness. If I were to just face it and then have faith that if anything's going to happen, it's because it's meant to happen. I have no control over it anyway. And some might think, oh, that's a morbid way to think. Actually, it's not. It totally releases yourself from trying to control everything. And it kind of feels good, actually.
Yeah.
You know? So now I love flying. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy to think of someone not liking to fly because I've never not liked to fly.
So when was the first time you were on a plane? Probably as a baby.
I was 7.
Okay.
7.
So you had like an experience that in your mind, you probably thought it was fun and cool and like...
Yeah, honestly, I got gypped out because we went to Hawaii and it was night. It was at
Oh.
nighttime, so I didn't see anything. So it was almost like it was non-existent.
It didn't really happen.
No, because you couldn't see anything outside anyway, so you didn't have that fear of like, oh gosh, I can see the
Right.
ground or I see the ocean. Oh, like none of that happened. So
Isn't that crazy?
yeah.
Yeah, and when's the first time you flew?
You guys are gonna think this is fucking hilarious, but Hawaii. It was when my mom moved us from California to Hawaii. That was my first flight ever.
How old were you?
I was going into 6th grade, I think.
Okay, so you both had like pretty good ages.
I was traumatized
Yeah.
though because I was like, I don't want to move, so I had like a different.
That's a different,
Yeah.
totally different podcast. Being a kid and being told what to do and
Yeah.
have your food made for you.
Now I'm like,
I miss those days.
get me on a plane anywhere.
Yeah,
Anywhere.
exactly.
Anywhere. Yeah. Try flying into Arizona as a kid every summer, and the turbulence from California to Arizona is the worst. Like, that's the scariest turbulence I've ever had.
Driving in Arizona is the worst turbulence I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Talk
Yeah.
about overcoming your fear every day.
Seriously. Yeah, so I just think the power of your mind and, a lot of times I think it's our natural, like our brain wants to go to the worst case scenario and this could happen.
It's
oh
trying to
my
keep you
God.
safe,
Right.
Your
Your caveman brain. It's not cut up, it's not evolved. And so when you have those thoughts, do you guys have any advice on how to, move through those thoughts in a way that actually changes the outcome or changes your decision in the end?
So I think I'm a lot like you, and it's like you have to envision the goal and you have to want that so much more than being afraid of it. So you have to like push yourself past your limitations, because if you don't push yourself past those limitations, you're never going to get there.
Okay, here's a question, because I'm like racking my brain and thinking, have I ever let fear stop me? And I honestly can't think of a time. I mean, maybe it's the way we all were raised, but I feel like I let it sit for maybe a few days, and then it's like, screw this, I'm doing it.
I think it's more of like a self-doubt thing, like versus a fear thing for me, because I think I was talking to Tara about this the other day, but I'm like, you reach for and strive for success in whatever you're doing, right? But there's also the idea that you can be afraid of being successful, because I'm like, okay, I'm just one person. It's just me. Like, what if this thing grows bigger than what I am? But it's like I'm putting those what ifs in my head.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you can't focus on the what ifs. Like you need to just take action and keep moving, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I am just taking it a step at a time, and I'm learning every step of the way, and that's how I'm gonna get there.
I literally tell my oldest daughter that. It's like, look, this is my first time in life too. Give me a break.
Yeah.
We're all learning at the same time.
You're like, this is the first time that I've had a child your age.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think if you can just that's great advice. One step at a time.
Yeah.
Don't get ahead of yourself, because we all do that. Like I said, our brain has a mind of its own, and it will literally be 3 years ahead in some random ass scenario that will never probably happen. And you're so stuck in that when you're there, you literally close off all other ways that something can happen or come to you. And that's like recently what I'm realizing is that you think you want something and you have an idea of how you're supposed to get it or get there or whatever that avenue is you're supposed to take. And when you're so fixated on that, think about literally millions of different ways that same thing or better can come to you, can happen, that you haven't even thought of, that you can't even imagine possible. Yeah. And so that's why, like, when I hear people say, oh, I really want this, and oh, it's just not happening the way that I thought it would. And I'm like, you gotta let go, because there's so many different ways something can come to you that are beyond
Or it's just not
your
meant for
imagination.
you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people take like the failure or like not succeeding in something as I didn't do it correctly, but it might just not be your time, right? Like the way you're looking at that impacts the next step you're taking. So if you think that this is how I fail, well, why don't you rephrase that and be like, this door hasn't opened for me because it's not ready to open for me. There's something else I need to do to better myself for that door to open. Mm-hmm. I think that's where I've been kind of looking for myself lately is how do I get the door open?
Yeah.
So
that's so good. I mean, and then there's this, I just thought of my husband and I's attempts at getting pregnant. And we spent 5 years trying to get pregnant. IVF, everything possible, the whole 9 yards. And it made me think of when you said maybe it's just not for you. Like there does come a point where your fixation on the outcome is not healthy. And you have to surrender to a different life, a different outcome than you had ever imagined. But what it will force you to do, I guarantee you, if you're open to it, is it will force you to really think about and consider, why did you want that thing to begin with? And what I learned through my entire, some would call it failure of becoming a parent, because we are not parents, is that I wanted a child so that I could experience unconditional love.
You got it.
But the most beautiful thing I do, the most beautiful thing that I learned throughout that whole 5 years, and at the very end, it couldn't have come a second sooner, was that the unconditional love has to come from me, to me.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
And you both have children, so you can speak to that understanding of like that fulfillment. In other words, my desire for this, I would have been disappointed, I think. I would have been searching for something that really had to come from within myself.
I feel like a lot of people think they're going to get to a certain place or a certain goal, or they'll acquire something and they're going to be like, oh, I'll be happy then. Like, you have to find happiness in what you're doing right now, with where you're at right now. Because I tell you, as I sit here, a year ago, the things I did a year ago when I didn't think I was doing good enough, I look back and I'm like, damn, you've accomplished so much. So it's like you have to learn to be happy with now.
Yeah, take that in the fitness world. That's why I tell everyone, just take pictures.
I
don't know why I thought of that is like the whole weight loss thing and going through that multiple times and like helping other people do it. It's like, I know you don't want to take a fucking picture.
Last thing you want to do.
But I promise you will want to see that picture later on down the road. If you're bigger or smaller, it will give you some type of motivation.
I feel like that's another fear too, because I remember being that girl that if somebody would come into the locker room, I'd be like, oh, I wasn't taking a picture.
Oh yeah.
Now I see other girls do it. I'm like, take that picture.
Take that picture. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I've had that fear too. Like, oh, will it look like I'm gloating, or if I'm taking a picture of myself? No.
Who cares?
Who gives? Just frickin' do it. Don't question yourself. Just have fun. With it. And if someone else is angry or mean towards you about what you're doing, honestly, it's usually a deflection. It's something they're going through with themselves, and they're seeing a mirror image looking at you doing it. So that is probably something I've learned in the past decade is like, you're going to be an asshole to me? that means you're an asshole to you, and I'm sorry. Whatever you're going through, I'm sorry, but I'm not your punching bag for that,
Oh,
you know?
gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a question for, I mean, you could both answer it, but what is like one thing that you could tell somebody if they're like, oh, I'm just too afraid to do it?
Why? That would be my question. Why?
So question yourself, why are you afraid?
Yeah. And then those just questions more why, right? Like most people don't have a why. Like I'm scared. I don't know why I'm scared. Like usually it's like, I don't know. Like it's just, I don't think I can do it, right? That's
There you
usually what it
go.
comes back to is
Self-doubt.
self-doubt. Like you
Or
were saying.
self-worth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're right. Open that box of questions.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because when I was 7, one of my teachers told me that I couldn't do something. Okay. And you're now 37.
Yeah.
So you're going to let this teacher's thoughts about themselves
Or ex's thoughts, right?
or ex's thoughts. Yes. Oh, yes. We all have those. Dictate your life. Think about
Yeah.
the power that you're giving that memory, because that's all it is. Isn't that crazy? It's freaking nuts. Mind blowing.
Yeah. Why? I think that's what I would ask.
That's a good one. Yeah. I think, I mean, I think the same thing is just question your thoughts and don't believe everything your brain tells you. You know, give your brain a name, Beyonce or whatever, and have fun with it. Your thoughts are not facts, okay? They're just things that were handed down from you, handed down to you generationally. It's your job as you get older to work through those thoughts and actually learn and understand what is your truth.
Yeah. Do you think our thoughts are projections of what other people think of us?
I was just going to say that.
Like-
I feel like a lot of people's failure or fears come from
what they think people think,
like,
right?
oh
Like
my
it's like
God,
a weird.
like
Yeah.
oh my God, I didn't do this, or I didn't make this goal. Like, oh, I failed. Like, what is everybody else going to think about me? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't do things that they want to do just because they're like, how is this going to make me look? Like, what
Yeah.
are other people going to think?
So is that a question of confidence? Is that a question of self-worth? Is
I
that a
think it's
question of
both.
acceptance, rejection? Like, what does that hit on?
All of
it?
the above.
All
Yeah.
of it.
Circle D, all of the above. I think a good thing for anyone to do, I can't remember which podcast or audiobook or God knows one of the million things I listen to, but I don't know if you've heard about it, but the yes theory.
I feel like I have.
So
You got to
it's-
remind me.
Oh my goodness, Thomas Bragg. So they created a YouTube and they went out on these adventures and they just said yes to everything. So the idea behind that is that you say yes to everything, including the things that get you out of your comfort zone.
Don't do that to your kids.
Yeah.
I'm not talking
teasing.
about like, Mom, can we get ice cream? But like,
Yes.
hey,
Yes, we can.
we're going skydiving. Yes, I
Have you
bet
been?
you.
I've never been, but I would.
I bet you it would.
No.
I'm
never.
scared to death of heights. Scared to death of heights. But
I think I'm more scared to death of falling and dying.
this is interesting.
I'm more afraid of being in the plane. I need someone to push me out and I'll go. I'll do it, no problem. But
Well, that's the thing. I kind of had an epiphany just now because before I had children, I was not afraid of shit.
No, I agree. After I had kids, everything got scarier.
I'm like, I get nervous flying. I
Especially if they're
always
with you.
wanted
Especially if they're
exactly.
with you.
Yeah.
I'm so freaked out over our vacation coming up. Oh God.
But it's like I wanted to skydive. I wanted to do all these things when I was younger. So it's almost like, am I afraid to do these things because I'm worried something's going to happen to me and then they're not going to have somebody to look after them?
Yeah. I
You
think
know?
that's where my brain goes.
Or like I don't know. I literally just thought about that because I was like, damn, like where did she go? Like how do I get her back?
well, that
You
might
know?
also be age because you were young when you,
Yeah.
both of you, had your babies. So there is a fearlessness to us in our youth where we think we're untouchable. and we think it's not going to happen to us. I mean, I think about some of the shit I did, and I'm like, how did I survive? We could all say the same thing.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
different back then, kids, okay? We didn't have cell phones. I didn't.
I did not.
And the internet and like any of that. And so it was just a different time.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself.
Yeah, well, no,
Anyway.
that's all of us. I didn't have.
Oof. But it was just different.
With social
Paige
media
is
wasn't
just a
around.
number.
You know, we didn't have YouTube to look at like all these terrifying things that were videotaped that could happen.
We're talking
Like
You
about
had to have
scary.
a
Oh my
wind-up
goodness.
camera.
you totally did. You did. So it was just like this freedom, I think, of just living.
Yeah.
You know, which was so different.
Yeah. I don't know. Even the idea of getting on a hot air balloon freaks me
Oh
out at
no,
this point.
no, not doing it.
That is, I would not do. In fact, every time I see one in the air, I'm like, nope. I literally say it out loud.
Yep.
Nope.
Nope.
You
not
think your
for
legs
me.
are shaky after a leg day? Get me on a hot air balloon and I'll be sitting
I'd
because
pee
I wouldn't
myself.
be able to stand.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't do heights well.
Okay, this is a good one. What's one thing you've been afraid that you've been too afraid to do that if you knew the outcome would be positive, you would do it?
Shit, that's hard. I feel like I've been grabbing life by the balls here lately.
We've been kind of like
Literally,
literally
all three of
head
us,
in,
yeah.
in the brick walls. Like,
yeah. Like,
let's fucking go. Yes. I mean, I'm going to say it. This podcast, I already know it's going to be a positive outcome because
Yeah.
we're
What was the
united.
question?
What's one thing you've been too afraid to do that if you knew the outcome would be positive, you would do it?
So I haven't done it yet.
You haven't done it yet. So skydiving?
No, never. That's not possible.
Not even if you knew you'd land and be fine.
No.
So there's just sometimes a no list.
There's a no.
okay,
list
so
for
this
sure.
brings up like complacency for me. Like,
I just haven't not done what I wanted to do.
I know
That
that's
sounds like so.
No, it doesn't. That's amazing.
I mean, it doesn't mean you do it to the fullest either, right? You could start something and think, okay, I really want to do this, and then you start it and you're like, oh, it's really not for me.
and that's okay.
Yeah,
And I think that's where, like, the big key point here is, even if you were scared to do something, just trying to do it is more important than the failure or not liking it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So put yourself out
That's
there.
well said.
You won't know until you try.
Oh, no, until you try.
So might as well just do it.
do you?
I think as we get older too, like, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're okay.
As you get older, you don't really get anymore.
I love getting older for that reason only.
That's what I've noticed is it just seems like I don't really care.
Isn't that crazy? And you remember people saying like when you were younger and they were like
Just wait.
45 and you're like, whatever, old bitch, I'm not listening to you. You know, and she's like, you'll see, you're not going to care. And you're like, whatever, bitch. And
Yeah,
now you're
yeah.
like, shit, I'm that lady. I'm not a lady. I'm that girl.
You're a lady.
Lady sounds so, I'm not a lady. Lady sounds so old. Well, I was going to say,
Proper.
do you think having the fact that, you know, you both, we all, but having like a support system at home and having like a caring husband and having, you know, because not all of us have very supportive family members.
I feel like
So-
it helps, but at the same time, I think that it has to come from you. It has to come from like inside. You have to be the one because like you cannot rely on other people to help you get to where you're going or to help you get to your goal. Like I feel like you look like you're not agreeing with what I'm saying. I feel like it's very much like I couldn't be like, I want to go set out for this goal and you're helping me, right? But you have to help me get there all the way. You know what I mean?
There's to an extent, right? I see what you're saying.
But that
it's
wasn't
almost
my
like quitting
question.
smoking. Like someone can encourage you, but they can't do the work.
But that's not my
I
question.
feel called the fuck out, thanks.
My question is, because I'm thinking about our husbands, we have very supportive husbands.
Yes.
And I'm thinking about people who maybe don't have that, right? And maybe they have a husband who's putting them down, or a partner, I should say. It doesn't have to be a husband. It could be anyone, really. Anyone that's in your life, in a relationship, you're in a relationship with, that maybe is feeding self-doubt or putting you down or telling you that there's no way you're going to do that. Like,
It's a big thing. I come from past relationships where I was made to feel pretty much insane. I feel like that's an appropriate word, is insane. Like, I could tell you the sky is blue and you will convince me it's not. Like, at some point your brain starts to comprehend that that's who you are. But I don't know how you would get at, like, other than rephrasing how, like, it goes back to The Secret, right? Rephrasing how you talk to yourself is going to be the biggest thing. But from my point of view now, like, my husband is the reason I'm anywhere where I'm at. Like, I had a goal set long before him, and it isn't because of him. Like, he's the one who pushed me back into that goal. So like you're saying, like, that I was disagreeing because I would have no part of the competition world if it wasn't for him. Like, so I kind of.
So having someone support you and pushing you outside of your comfort zone, knowing that it's actually really good for you, is huge.
Yeah, it's
having
huge.
someone that's putting you down and belittling you, I would like you can contact me. I will help you get the fuck out of that relationship. Okay. We all three will, because that's a whole nother podcast.
Episode.
It really is, because I would love to talk about that. But I would have to say that having someone support me, who's my partner, and like trust me to do what I think is right for me, is huge. Someone who puts you down and that, or someone who makes you question yourself and things like that. I mean, it always comes back to you, right?
Yeah.
Does it help you look past like the fear of what's presented to you?
Yeah.
Just having that stability.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the question.
You've had a very good example of that recently with picking up a new coach.
Yes, I did.
Jeff just whatever.
He was like,
you need.
whatever. He's like, well, what do you think you need? And I was like, that's a good question.
You're like, what do I need?
What and why? What and why?
What and why? Yeah, so it's almost like he's your brain outside of your body.
He's
He's the boy brain, but he's the brain.
So I think a good maybe like writing prompt or like a journal prompt for this would be exactly how you answered my question with the why.
The why.
Why am I, what is the thing that I want to do?
Yeah, what are
am I
you scared of? What do you want to do?
And why are you scared?
Why are you scared, and why do you want to do it, right? You always need a why. Like,
and you can dig deeper into that. You can just answer the question, you can answer the why question, and then answer it again. Like, just.
I just thought of something. I don't mean to interrupt,
No,
but I don't want to lose it. Is like, we are built to talk to other people about what we want to do, and often their influence can be negative if they're wanting to do it and they can't do it, but they see you can do it. And so I would be mindful about who you share your
Bingo.
desires with, because if it's not the right network of people that are, neutral to you, they don't, in other words, they're a neutral party that you trust to be neutral, and you can ask them for advice without their gnarly, twists on it. Like, can they just be a neutral sounding board for me? And are they supportive, and are they positive, and are they lifting me up through this? Oftentimes, I think we're very blessed that we don't have that crap in our lives, because we've gotten rid of it. We've made a choice to get rid of it, and that has served us, right? But I don't share things with people that I think are going to sprinkle their bullshit. And I hate to say it, but a family member I don't share my stuff with. And it's sad, because, you'd think, why can't I share? And it's like, I just don't want the energy on it.
yeah.
I'd rather feel at peace.
So you think we should leave it at that? A
Yeah.
writing prompt of,
Yes.
what are you scared of? Why are you scared of it? What was the other one?
Why?
Just why.
Just keep asking
Just
yourself
keep
why.
Well,
Yeah.
then that leaves, we can ask our audience this week. We want you to do one thing that scares you, even if it's just sending that message, applying for that job, or speaking your truth. That is your
Homework.
homework for the week. And we would love to hear some stories, right?
Yeah.
Comments?
Yeah, comment.
What do you guys want to hear from us? What kind of topics are you interested in?
Yep. Until next time, feel the fear, honor it, but don't let it stop you. We should all have capes on.
Oh my gosh.